These days, your calendar is supercharged, and you find yourself having to pencil in when you need to breathe. As we're always moving and grooving between our offices, homes, studio, and out, we could all take some moments to spend time and hear from our faves in pop culture on what they're up to and how they keep it together as well. I'm your host, Kimmy Smith, a celeb fashion stylist, co-founder and creative style director of Athleisure Mad, co-executive producer and host of a number of shows in our multimedia podcast network, Athleisure Studio. When you plug into Bungalow SK, you'll get to hang out with those that, regardless of their background, are juggling their busy lives and have words of empowerment to keep us motivated throughout our day. On today's episode of Bungalow SK, we're focused on women's health, which includes talking about collagen and natural elements that boost our bodies. In the news, we have heard about the importance of this and why it's a vital resource. I sit down with the co-founders of SkinTE to talk with Dr. Amy Bader, Elizabeth Zieg, and Bassima Mroue about how they came together to create this ingestible beauty lifestyle brand with investors that include Spanx founder Sara Blakely, the iconic Diane Von Furstenberg, Supermodel Karlie Kloss, and Bare Minerals founder Leslie Blodgett. We talk about how they solved the problem by incorporating grass-fed collagen with tea and essential ingredients, the importance of a positive corporate culture that believes in proper work balance, and where we can expect to see them next. Prior to launching SkinTE, tell me a bit about each of your backgrounds, yourselves, and how you came to SkinTE.
Bassima, do you want to go first?
Okay, I will. Just to give you a little bit of background about who I am, I'm Lebanese by origin. I grew up in West Africa, and then I worked in Canada and the US. So before I started SkinTE, I was actually working at Nike for 10 years. And before Nike, I worked at various companies in IT. But yeah, I had a 10-year ride at Nike that was incredible. And I got to do everything from IT to supply chain to brand and strategy. And this kind of ties into how we started SkinTE, because towards the end of my time at Nike, where my career was on a high and I was in strategy and brand, and the president was my mentor, so I had all the right ingredients, my body started breaking down. So I was on my way to stage 4 endometriosis. I needed to get back surgery. So I literally just walked out of a company that, was so good to me. But I walked out and I needed to get surgery. And it was at that time that I learned about collagen and how powerful it was for you. And my surgeon and my mom encouraged me to take it. So long story short, it was a big part of my healing. And I knew Dr. Bader, who's Amy. I knew her for years. She had been game changing in helping me with my health and deal with so many issues. And so I went to her and complained because I was doing a lot of, bone broth and pills and powders to consume collagen. And I was getting great results, but I was so bored with it. And I found that it was hard to comply with those options. And when I told Amy about it, she laughed about that and was basically like, she'd already been working on ways to help not only herself, but her patients, to consume collagen in a more fun and interesting way by combining it with herbs and teas. And she'd been working with Elizabeth. So you'll hear their stories in a minute. But really, they'd already started doing this. And then, we got together and decided to start this company. I also worked for Sara Blakely, the founder of Spanx. So we decided to start this company, but we still needed money. So we were all still working. So Sara Blakely, I worked for her in strategy as well, but then ended up being the president of her foundation for a couple years. And she was super supportive. One of those few people that allowed you to, run a startup on the side while working for her. But as an incredible entrepreneur and an incredible woman, she allowed that to happen. And so we also have a great story around women helping women. And I can share more about that later. But that was my background.
Right. So this is Amy. I'm the naturopathic physician. And, speaking to Bassima's point, yes, our paths converged in this really beautiful way. But leading up to that point, for me, my first career was actually in accounting. And I had a business degree from UC Berkeley. And I was, an accountant in San Francisco. But my true passion was really actually studying nutrition and herbs and homeopathy and things. So I ended up going back to school, kind of starting my career again and going into naturopathic medicine, which is amazing. And, it's 4-year degree, a very rigorous program, did a wonderful residency. And for 20 years, I've been basically practicing this incredible form of medicine. And that's really where my training in herbal medicine comes from. For 20 years, I've been using herbs like the ones we chose for SkinTE and loving them and seeing them be effective. And so just like Bassima was saying earlier too, one of the main medicines that I really was promoting in my practice as a food really was collagen. And so to her point, I was having a lot of trouble getting people to be consistent with that and knowing the importance of that amino acid profile in that particular set of, that protein set. It was actually kind of frustrating for me and my patients to be stuck with like the powders and the pills and whatnot. And
exactly.
Me too. We were looking for a better way to take this, knowing how important it was. And that's how Elizabeth and I started a conversation one day around that. Right, Elizabeth?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's kind of my story of how we kind of came together. And I'll let Elizabeth chat a little bit about her background.
Yeah. So this is Elizabeth, the chef of the trio. And so, for me, my career path has been rather circuitous, nonlinear. But food has always been a grounding force in my life and kind of the way I see the world and the way I hold on to memories, and share love with the people around me. So I feel like it's my love language, truly deeply. So, although like Amy, I didn't start that way in my career. So I actually have a German literature degree, and then worked in IT like Bassima for a while, and then had a stint in the art world for a while. But food was always drawing me back. And so I went to culinary school and was a pastry baker for years. And that was a really great way to scratch that itch of playing with flavors and aromas and delighting people. But it wasn't quite the right fit. And so, Amy and I were just talking about collagen, talking about, getting older, and this idea of collagen in a more convenient way that also tasted amazing. Was a great spark.
Yeah, Elizabeth and I are quite the duo because I will eat things that taste like dirt.
That sounds like me.
But she never, ever would do that, ever. No. So she spares us the dirt taste of the herb.
Which is nice because I do as well say, okay, it's totally fine if it doesn't, taste great. If it does what it's supposed to do, then I want that. But it is really nice when it does taste good. And it's funny because I actually don't really take in a lot of ingested collagens just because of the texture and different things. So what's in SkinTE? I have to say, I think your website is so cute. It's fun. Aww. I love the pictures on the Instagram. And it just literally draws you in. So what's inside of there?
Well, I think it's a whole lot of synergy and magic, honestly. I mean, we started with collagen and we chose a really clean, really well done, high quality source of kosher grass-fed collagen for this in peptide form, which are very easily bioavailable. They're very easy to kind of pull into your body and use it as building blocks on the inside. But we didn't want to just give you building blocks without giving you protection and other benefit. And so when we had the idea to combine it with herbal teas and basically herbal medicines to some degree, we looked at the benefits of those things and all the other ingredients, what we call the super herbs, for example, they have benefit in the space of providing trace minerals or providing extra vitamin C or actually helping soothe your emotional heart via their traditional use in like Native American medicine or calming you. And then one of our herbs, nettle root, is literally like a multivitamin, if you would. It says so many nutrients in it. It's like a botanical multivitamin. And then we combine all of that with things like green tea and white tea. And white tea, for example, has been shown in studies to prevent the breakdown of collagen and elastin in your skin. So it's the building blocks and the benefit and the protection from the inside out and the synergy of the whole, what we call our SkinTE equation.
Yeah. And maybe I can add some context on that to just build on what Amy's saying. This is Bassima. So we have this SkinTE equation and it's, I want to present it in a way that might be easy to remember. It has 3 parts, right? So it starts with the collagen as Amy described, and it has a very particular dosage of 3,000 milligrams that we can talk about in a minute, but based on medical grade A studies. Then we have these super herbs, and I kind of want to go through each one quickly because it's so much fun. And it's a big part of what really differentiates our brand. So the first herb is, as Amy mentioned, hawthorn berry. This herb was used in ancient times to heal a broken heart. And, so it's kind of like a hug from the inside out. And a lot of our consumers tell us, I don't understand. I just feel so happy. And we're like, great. so it's exactly what we want because everyone can use a little self-love. And then you've got passion flower, which is this herb that kind of calms you down. And Amy, handpicked that. But it also has a little bit of a boost for your libido. It kind of makes you feel sexy. So there's like the self-love herb and the sexy herb. Then you've got the, the horsetail, which is just a pure vanity herb. It's all about skin, hair, nails. It's super rich in silica. And then there's the fourth one that Amy talked about, that's nettle root, which is used extensively in Europe as a tonic tea, right, Amy? And
yeah, it's considered really a whole body tonic for all the parts.
So when Amy handpicked these herbs, like those are in all of our flavors. So we've got all of the collagen, you've got all of the super herbs, and then the magic is what we say, we also add smart ingredients. And these smart ingredients are smart for two reasons, because collagen and just super herbs does taste like dirt, which Elizabeth does not approve of. So then you get to the smart ingredients, and the smart ingredients are basically Elizabeth and Amy together picking ingredients that are not only really good for you, but that create a beautiful flavor profile. So for example, green tea grapefruit has all the collagen, all the herbs, so you're getting that out of the way. But they also added jasmine green tea, added hibiscus for the color, and grapefruit. And it's the first brand to ever carbonate collagen. So what's super special about us is it's sparkling. No one's ever done that. And it took a lot of R&D for Amy and Elizabeth to get there, but they're stubborn, which is a great trait. And so that's how we got to green tea grapefruit. And then real quickly, white tea ginger has real brew ginger and white tea. And then the third one that we're launching soon, we can talk about that later.
Okay.
But that's a little bit where our equation is very unique to us, because we're so much more than just collagen.
Right.
We really are collagen plus all of these thoughtful herbs.
Wow. Can you maybe break it down for some people that may not know? What is collagen? Why do we need it? And now knowing there are different types, why did you select this form of collagen?
You guys want me to take that?
Yeah, go in.
Yeah, okay. So collagen is literally the protein that we are made out of. It provides all of the structure for our bodies. Everything from our skin to our hair, to our nails, to our bones, to our joints, to our eyeballs, to our teeth, to our heart valves.
Wow.
It is literally what we are constructed of. And collagen, the word actually comes from the old Greek word Karlie, meaning glue.
Oh.
So it glues you together. It is literally you
Wow.
in your physical form. And it is a protein that is part of the animal kingdom. So collagen does come from animal sources. And we knew we wanted to investigate every single source of collagen that we could find to really, really hone in on bioavailability, effectiveness, but also a clean product that we knew was, rigorously tested and was going to be very, very safe. Because remember, we wanted to be able to drink this with reckless abandon ourselves, right? And so we wanted the best that we could find. And we kept coming back to one that I had already been advocating, a source I'd already been advocating for my patients for a long, long time and for myself, after looking at many, many, many different collagen sources. And so we're very, very happy that, and we chose a grass-fed bovine collagen. And, it's been a really great choice for us. I feel like I feel the benefits of it every single day. Most of the research is done on this type of collagen. And the amount that we chose, 3,000 milligrams, is really what the robust medical research shows is just the right amount for most people.
Wow.
There might be people who have health problems, or like they're a 300-pound linebacker on a football team who might need a little more, but the research does support for most people. This is the sweet spot. This is the place that you're going to be able to digest it and absorb it and use it and have it come into your body and be a useful set of building blocks for your body to maintain its collagen integrity on the inside, to be able to build more collagen and kind of keep up with our aging process.
And I think, Amy, what was important to us also was that it's independently tested, the supplier, and it's free of hormones, insecticides, and pesticides and all that. So that was really big for us as a team and as a brand. Like, we just wanted to make sure we could rely on that. So that was also a big part of it.
Yeah, it's also tested for heavy metals, which is also really an important thing too. So we feel very good about that source.
And when did this brand launch, and how long were you in the development process before it came to market?
Yeah, so we the development R&D process took a couple years, and that was because Amy and Elizabeth were really intentional. We have some other fun stuff in R&D that we can't talk about that was included during that time. But it was a heavy couple years of getting to that sweet spot. It's a very uncompromising team, so we would prefer to go deep and really do a lot of iterations to get it right. So a couple years of R&D. We launched in December of last year, and we launched quietly online. And so we've only been out since January, really officially, of this year.
Holy crap. And have you done like trade shows and different things like that?
Oh, yeah, we've had a blast. We've been very grateful for what's happened. So we actually launched, we showed up and met the world at Indie Beauty Expo in Dallas last year before we'd even launched with silver cans and, and everyone was, and it was awesome. We went out there and we wanted to know what the consumer felt. And, it turned out to be the best decision. We learned a ton. Dallas welcomed us. The Indie Beauty Expo said, hey, we want you to still be there. So we were able to learn and take that right into R&D because it was last year in the summer when we hadn't even launched yet. And then we also did Indie Beauty Expo with New York and got an unbelievable reception, still hadn't launched.
Oh my God.
Then we did the Indie Beauty Expo in LA and we had launched. Okay. It was fantastic. So we really started early because we're very consumer focused and we care what the consumer thinks. And so we're super proud that our final formulas were informed also by a very large consumer base that we were able to taste through those trade shows. And right now we are also in, wholesale as well as online.
To say that you launched in December and really hit the ground running in January and to have all of that activity, that's really impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really a great ride.
So you have the 2 flavors that are currently available, and you were speaking that there's an additional flavor. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'd love Elizabeth and Amy to talk about that. And maybe Elizabeth at some point can also go through the flavor profiles.
Which I would love to.
Yeah. Okay,
so
sounds great.
So this is Elizabeth. I'll start with the 2 currently available, and then I'll move on to the third one coming soon.
Perfect.
So green tea grapefruit, as Bassima mentioned, is a jasmine green tea base. So with green tea, both green tea grapefruit and white tea ginger, we wanted a tea forward flavor and aroma to really honor that presence of the tea, kind of that grounding force of tea. And that was also really indicative of Amy and I working together of flavor and function, right? Because green tea and white tea both offer flavor and function. So green tea grapefruit is jasmine green tea, a little bit of hibiscus for a color, aroma, and flavor, and then grapefruit to add kind of a brightness, a little bit of pithy bitterness on the back end. So you get the grassy, herbal, floral jasmine green tea, the bright, citrusy, pithy grapefruit, and then the sparkle factor. So it's light and refreshing and a little bit fizzy, but not heavy, and not like a soda heavy, but light and refreshing like a fizzy tea. White tea ginger is a Bai Mudan white tea. So it has that apricot kernel nuttiness. And then, as Bassima mentioned, real brewed ginger, which we're super proud of. So real brewed ginger has more of a warmth and a depth and also a woodiness that you don't get from like a lot of ginger flavors. So it's a real brewed ginger with white tea. And then that's also, the fizzy makes the heat come out a little bit more. So it scratches that ginger heat for the people out there that enjoy ginger. But we tried to also balance it and not make it too strong. So it's not like the burning heat of a ginger shot. Although I'm a ginger fan.
I'm a ginger fan, so.
But we wanted both of those to be a nice balance of tea flavor and aroma, another interesting flavor profile mix, a little bit of fizz. So it's refreshing and light, something you can enjoy with your lunch or after a workout. The third flavor was...
Or as a cocktail.
I was just going to say, can it have a cocktail?
I was about to say. Yes, please. So I'll talk about that in a hot minute.
Okay.
So both green tea grapefruit and white tea ginger have a little bit of naturally occurring caffeine from the green tea and the white tea. It's about 30 milligrams per can. That's roughly about a third of a cup of coffee's worth.
Wow.
Just to give you a little point of reference. Yeah. Our third flavor coming soon is hibiscus vanilla. It is caffeine free. So we're super excited to be launching that one soon to give everybody an opportunity to enjoy SkinTE at any time of day, or if for people that are more sensitive to caffeine for whatever reason. So hibiscus has kind of a tart, almost a berry aroma and flavor, the blushy pink color. And then we paired that with a little bit of rose petal, which was also another great collaboration of Amy and I working together, the hibiscus and rose. And then we paired that with vanilla. So I like to think of it almost, it has a little bit of reminiscence of a berry cobbler quality to it, because hibiscus, when it's brewed, has a little bit of that berry tart, fruity. And then when you pair that with real vanilla that has like a woody depth aroma flavor, it's lovely. It's kind of smooth, a little bit tart on the front, and then the floral, and then the vanilla on the back end.
Wow. It sounds like, just from the way you're describing it, that it has kind of that really warm, I don't want to call it a mulled taste, but just very warm, perfect for the holidays. Maybe I know it's a year round thing, but it just seems a lot warmer than the other two that are crisper.
You know, it really depends on the temperature you drink it, I think, actually. So if you're drinking hibiscus vanilla crisp and cold out of the fridge, it's super light. For people that really enjoy the flavor of tea, you can also, if you drink green tea, grapefruit, or white tea, ginger at room temperature, you taste the tea a little bit more. But they're all pretty light when they're icy cold out of the fridge. Yeah.
That is fantastic. And how do you guys go about deciding, obviously your first two flavors were one way, but how do you onboard additional flavors? I mean, I'm sure that you have an inspiration or mood board of what you're trying to do with that.
Yeah. This is Dr. Amy. There's just certain teas that have been so tried and true in terms of health benefits. And they, I know them to have good taste profiles that, the joke in the company is that I literally have shoved a pile of sticks and twigs and roots and berries and leaves at Elizabeth. And she has concocted these things. I mean, we knew that we wanted to represent certain things in the product line, for like rose petals, for instance, have been used in Chinese medicine for eons for skin ailments. It's one of the main things they put in acne formulations for skin, for Chinese medicine for skin stuff. And so we knew that we had this list of really beautiful, very effective herbs that we somehow wanted to find a home for them in the product line, put them into the right product at the right time with the right combination of things. And it was Elizabeth knew instantly that it would pair with hibiscus when we talked about hibiscus. And so part of the magic is me looking at, okay, what are all these things that can add this depth of benefit for someone's health? And then Elizabeth going, well, this would pair with this, and this would pair with this, and this would pair with this. I mean, I think that's where the beauty of our skill sets come in, because there's no way I could do that.
Wow.
But she just knows.
I was going to say, no, it's almost like music and lyrics to me, right? That's how I like to think of it. The way Amy, you and I work together, it's kind of like music and lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. Because I was about to say there's also a healthy layer of intuition on this team with all three of us. I think as a female-led team with all three of us, we do trust our intuition. And Amy, Elizabeth on the R&D side definitely do, just like I do in the CEO role. So I feel there's a healthy dose of that. So yeah, there are trends out there. There's all sorts of research you can do. And that's definitely important to us as a company. But just as important is tapping into our intuition. And so that's been really fun to see the reactions to these flavors based on that as well.
I mean, I just love so many things about this. I love the idea of being able to have this sparkling, refreshing drink. I love the idea of the teas in it. Once again, I'm a huge tea person. I barely even drink coffee. So tea for me is kind of like my way to get around through the day. And obviously any tea that I can put a cocktail in is also great.
So let's circle back to the cocktail conversation for a hot minute. And so it's Elizabeth again.
On the East Coast, so
see, there you go. Yes. So from the beginning, just having this be a lightly carbonated beverage made it a pretty good, ideal mixer as a cocktail. So yes, absolutely. So that's also been a fun R&D piece as well. And one definite combination that we go back to a lot because it's just easy and super fun is mixing any of the SkinTE flavors with sparkling wine. So champagne would be the traditional method. Nothing wrong with that. But Italian Prosecco or Spanish Cava are also great options. But like a half and half SkinTE sparkling wine combo is great because you get a little bit more fizz, you get a little bit more acidity, and you get a little bit of that lovely zing from sparkling wine. Is a really great, quick way to create a SkinTE cocktail.
And maybe Amy, can you jump in a little bit around the ingredients, around like hydration and
I was going to say it's really truly an ideal mixer because it's super low in carbohydrates. It's got a little hit of the protein from the collagen. It's got antioxidants in it that are kind of protective to any kind of process that alcohol might create, as well as glycine from the collagen that protects your liver. And then on top of all of that, there's a lot of minerals in SkinTE that help you to maintain a level of hydration. And so we kind of joke that it kills the hangover before you get to the bar. We've tested the theory, I guess, but it's funny because we laugh. It's like we had no intention of making the ideal mixer, but it kind of turned out that way.
Oh my God.
And the other thing I would add in terms of your comment on coffee that I, really rang a bell is we are heavy into consumer research, as you may start seeing. And one of the things that was such a wonderful surprise is a lot of coffee drinkers get jittery when they drink a lot of coffee or dehydrated. So one of the biggest pieces of feedback, of course, skin, hair, nails, I'm glowing, we expect that. We get that a lot. What's been one of the happiest results that make Elizabeth and I and Amy just so happy is when people say, I feel calm. I don't have the jitters, but I'm still energized. That is my favorite comment by far, because there's so much anxiety out there and we can't claim anything around that. But our consumers tell us, they're like, I feel calm. I feel happier. I feel like I'm over my caffeine addiction with coffee and I'm less jittery. Those are things we love to hear. And that's why now we talk a lot about it being a replacement for all the coffee drinkers out there who are trying to either reduce their coffee intake. I love coffee, so I'm not knocking on it, but I can't drink a lot of it. So I'm similar. For me, it's got to be tea. So it's whatever works for people. But I think what sets us apart as a brand is we're one of the very few collagen brands that's a true lifestyle brand. Whether you're having it in place of your coffee or you're truly sipping it with lunch, and we hear over and over, oh my gosh, it really is actually enjoyable. It's not like I'm trying to drink it and force it down. Or like after working out, like Amy said, like it's great for recovery. It's great for hydration, or all the way through to the evening. And now with our caffeine-free option, that works. Or even if it's for people who don't want to drink alcohol, it just makes a great mocktail in the evening because it has that combination of the herbs that make you kind of feel good and sexy. And then and then the enjoyment that, Elizabeth wants so much with the sparkly piece of it. So, it has kind of that 360 for everyone, depending on what they choose.
Wow. So, it's so crazy at the end of the year, is kind of around the corner. What is SkinTE doing that we should keep our eyes out for in terms of maybe it's new distribution or fun advertising that you're doing, or partnering in a New York Fashion Week event, like these types of things?
So there's a lot that we're doing that we just can't share yet.
I do live in the land.
But what I will say is we're definitely launching the third flavor, which we're super excited about. We do have something in R&D that we can't say a word about that we're super excited about. We are an innovation brand. And with this duo here, we're constantly innovating. So I think please stay tuned. I would ask everyone to follow us on Instagram and also follow our newsletters because we'll start announcing a lot. We do have very fun partnerships coming up as well. And, we've done pop-ups, for example, at the DVF store in LA. There will be more of that. Yeah, we've partnered with Erewhon. We've partnered with a whole bunch of, companies in the fashion and beauty space. That's been really fun. So if people follow us, they'll start to see a lot of that coming out.
And is the brand one, when you think of a lifestyle brand, obviously you have beverages, and I know you probably can't go too deep into it, but do you foresee taking on other categories?
Yes.
Gotcha. That's all I was going to get at. I was just waiting to see how deep was that yes. I live in the land of embargo, so I understand. But that yes sounded quite weighty. So at the top, when we were all first talking, Bassima, you were actually talking about, women helping women. What are initiatives that your company is doing in that regard? Or are there philanthropies that you guys are associated with?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And I think, maybe just to step back for a minute in terms of women helping women, the women in our tribe are incredible. Like I said, Sara Blakely, Diane Von Furstenberg is an investor, Karlie Kloss. It's all, Leslie Blodgett, the founder of Bare Minerals. So we've got this wonderful group of women who are all doing, great in the world. one of our biggest, we are a purpose-driven brand. We actually started and we all held hands because the three of us really spiritually bonded before we started the company. It was that intense. And we agreed that we would not launch a brand unless it had a bigger purpose than, a beverage. It was very important to us. So part of it is the ingredients and the purpose we have around people feeling good from the inside out and how that can unleash their full potential. Our mission is to unleash health and beauty from the inside out. So we are working towards that mission and how we're going to be partnering with various brands. We can't say anything yet. Again, I'm sorry about how we're going to do that.
That's okay.
But that's a big one. But one soundbite I will give you is like, we're big believers that beauty comes in all stripes. No pun intended. We do have striped cans. Yeah. but the striped cans represent the different layers of our product. They also represent the beauty in each of us. It's a beautiful can. It also represents inclusivity and diversity. So what's really important to us as a brand is, thinking of the definition of beauty beyond just the way you look. Like people that have a beautiful character are sexy. People that are nice are sexy. People that, do good in the world are. So how do you take the beauty that we all care about, physical beauty, and all of that, but also extend that definition and celebrate it beyond just that? So that gives you a little bit of a hint around the space that we're entering and that we're really excited about.
Wow. I love that. I also love a good mystery too. So I love that we can continue to see what you guys are doing, through Instagram. I mean, clearly you guys are three powerhouses that it's like a Powerpuff Girl situation that all came together. In this really nice mixture. So how do you guys, when you're involved in a business, being someone like myself, who I'm the co-founder of this magazine, Athleisure Mag, as well as the co-founder and executive producer for our podcast shows, and you're doing a million different things, plus being a fashion stylist and all this type of stuff. How do you take time for yourself to step back, make sure that you're checking in, that you've got all the things that you need? And obviously everyone can answer that.
This is Amy. I'll lead this conversation because this is actually a really important question for me. I'm a single mom. This whole thing started around the time that I was going through a divorce. And I have several jobs. I have a daughter who's a competitive swimmer, and I have this baby startup here, right? My other baby. Yeah. So, early on, these two women completely embraced the reality of my life. And I think it has set a tone in this corporation around what kind of culture we want to have. I remember we would do literally meetings from my car in parking lots, because I had to pick my daughter up in 10 minutes from school. And so there's just been this trust and respect and, collaboration around, what do you need today? Like, Bassima, you can kind of speak to this too. And Elizabeth, like just with taking time to your health or to get your sleep.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And I think one of the things around this company is we do lead with feminine energy. And trust me, I love masculine energy. So I'm not saying that to say I don't, but there is a feminine piece to how we lead. And one of them is self-care. We're huge believers that if you take care of each other and yourself, it's not just like, oh, we're so sweet and we like self-care. It's going to make the company better. There is a selfish side to it. And I believe that with all my heart. I've been in the hard charging corporate environment where you don't sleep, you play hard, you work hard. And it's kind of, celebrated when you say, I had 3 hours of sleep last night on my 5th cup of coffee. I will never forget that. That was embraced. Now we're the opposite. We're kind of like, okay, I need to sleep 8 hours. I need to drop everything and go get my back, see my physical therapist. I need to fit in a massage. Self-care is a part of the journey and we want each other to do it. So, if my partners have been great with that, like I'll leave at 3 p.m. to go do something and we'll schedule meetings around that. Or, if Elizabeth needs to go hiking for some reason, she thinks it needs to be in the middle of the week. We're all for it because she works 7 days a week, It's like for us, the way we focus on it is to fit work into our lives, not to try to fit a life into work. So that's been important. And I'll let Elizabeth speak for a minute. But one thing we've done as a brand that I don't know how many people have done this, but we have a life coach on as part of the company. Yeah. And this life coach, he's an amazing guy in LA, amazing reputation. And he literally, I brought him in because I wanted him to help from an emotional standpoint for all of us. And he would help us both around the company or personal. So we get our one-on-ones with him once a month personally. And then we also have like a session with the three of us, and we're offering it as a perk to our full-time employees who have been very appreciative for this. So part of what I want to do and the culture we want to build in this company is that your mental well-being means something to us and it means something to the company. So let's invest in that and let's be on this journey together, because guess what? Launching a startup isn't easy, but why does it have to be unbelievably stressful if you can bring the resources to kind of help through that journey? So that's a big part of who we are as a brand.
That's fantastic.
I think what you both had to say was great. I completely agree with all that. I think, just one other piece is that the three of us have been really fluid with each other in the way that we work and the way that we lean on each other. And I think that's offered us the flexibility to really lean in when we're feeling more creative and more productive and step away for a minute if we need a little time to ourselves. And I think as they both said, it leads to more productivity and more efficiency ultimately when you can listen to and honor kind of what you need in the moment. Like for example, I really needed a massage this morning. And so I did that, and it was great.
I love that.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I think there's just, it's important to really, to honor that and understand that when you're really depleted, you're not at your best and you're not really going to be contributing, as if you can just take a step back and give yourself a minute. So I think the way that we have built that into the way that we operate, even on a weekly basis, the way that we operate, I think that's huge. And I'm super thankful for that and the way that we're developing that culture within the company as we bring new people on as well.
I mean, I love that concept of you guys offering the life coach, but not only do you guys do it individually, but then as a group. I think that is something that's so, I don't know, it's so interesting and just a really fun, cohesive way to like understand what everyone is doing. I don't know. I think that is such a novel idea that I think is so powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Bringing in, his name is Brett Costin. He's very special to us. He's based in LA. We love him. And I think what's been special about him is, you just can even have a 15-minute session with Brett or a 30-minute, and it just kind of resets you a little bit. Yeah. And I think we are going to be doing a workshop with him in September with actually the whole team. And sometimes it's just us and the founders. But, I think, I feel like that level of coaching is game changing for a company, because companies sometimes shy away from that, or they might send you to a physical, you can have benefits where you can talk to a therapist, which is really different than having someone there for you emotionally. And I've just seen so much burnout with startups, and I think we can redefine what it means to be a startup. And I also think we redefine what it means to be like what your hours are. I tell my whole team, I don't care what hours you're working. I just really don't. I think if the work's getting done and you're the type of person that needs to leave between 3 and 5, as long as you're making time for the meetings that matter, then we're good. And I just see the week as 7 days and everyone has different lifestyles. So I think going away, because I've been at companies where people show up 9 to 5 and spend the entire day on the internet.
Yep. Same.
So, I don't think it's necessarily an indication of your working. So
exactly. Oh my gosh. That is so true. I just had visions in my head, especially if the boss was out for the day.
Yeah, totally.
Well, my final question is, we always love knowing, what are 3 things that are in your carry-on bag when you're traveling that help you feel like a sense of home or just comfort? Because I'm sure all 3 of you travel quite a bit, whether it's throughout the year or during certain sections of the year. So what are 3 items each of you have in your carry-on?
Oh, that's a good one.
What a great question. Who wants to take that first?
I'll go first. It's Elizabeth. Okay, so my first one is noise canceling headphones.
I knew you were going to say that.
The minute I get through security until the minute the plane lands, hits the ground, they're on my head, and I'm usually listening to classical music, honestly, and it creates a really nice, quiet environment. I'm an introvert by nature, so it just gives me another focus when I'm, in a busy airport or waiting in line or whatever. So yeah, noise canceling headphones, number 1. Because I'm a tea drinker and because you can't carry on liquids, I typically have tea bags of all sorts in my bag so that I can always get hot water from somewhere and brew my own tea, either while I'm waiting for the plane or on the plane. So tea bags are always in there. And then I also always have paper and a pencil or a pen, so that if I think of something, there's just something really different about handwriting notes and that process of handwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that I also like to have, because you never know when inspiration is going to strike. Usually for me, it's in a very, very unexpected time and place. So I like to have pen and paper to make notes and then be able to reflect on that later. God, Elizabeth, I would have known that you'd be so dang organized. That's hysterical.
I loved it.
I'm like, what do I pack? Oh my gosh. I can tell you that what I want in my back pocket every time I leave is my daughter.
Yeah.
And so I think the first and only thing I can honestly think of is if like I lose my phone for even 2 seconds and I can't FaceTime her, I feel like I'm going to have a complete conniption. But I have tea bags all the time too, Elizabeth, in my purse.
Wow.
And I always have my earbuds in too, because flying is not my favorite. If the plane makes a little funny noise, I'm like, oh, what was that? But I always have socks with me, no matter what. I just always have socks. Even if I'm going someplace hot, if I can't put socks on when I get back to my room at the end of the day away from home, I don't know, it kind of weirds me out. It's so funny. Yeah.
And then for me, what's funny is like, I never leave without a back roller or some sort of something for my back that I can use, or a little rope so I could do some stretches, because you know, what I learned is preventative for my back is so important. So that's always, and the other day I had a wooden roller and they thought it was a weapon and I got pulled aside and then they were like, oh, it's a back roller. You can keep it. I'm like, thank you. And so, you know, so that gets me in trouble once in a while. Then I do too. I have the ugliest fuzzy socks, but as long as I have my fuzzy socks, I'm really good to go. My feet get really cold at night. And then, you know, this is going to sound really loserish, but I cannot live without my laptop. Laptop is home for me because, so if I just don't have, I mean, it's so unoriginal, but if I don't have my laptop on me, like the world has crashed, and I love being able to read on it and access everything. So those are my top 3.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say a book, because I know you could read like 7 books in a day.
So I'm obsessed with books, but because of space, what I've now is my books are on my laptop. So that's why I said, yeah, exactly.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode of Bungalow SK. Make sure to follow, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can also follow and listen on additional podcast platforms, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Himalaya, SoundCloud, and Stitcher Premium. Bungalow SK is a member of the multimedia podcast network Athleisure Studio, part of Athleisure Media and Athleisure Mag. You can see our show notes at athleisurestudio.com/bungalow-sk and follow us on Instagram at bungalow.sk to find out who we're talking with, as well as what our guests are up to. Bungalow SK is executive produced by myself and Paul Farkas, with sound editing by the Athleisure Studio team. Our music is courtesy of Icons 8, with Forever Tea performing Renaissance. I'm your host, Kimmy Smith, and I'll see you next week at Bungalow SK.